Let's say you have a bold vision, something new, something exciting. The biggest mistake that you can make is trying to do it all yourself. Or worse, assigning tasks to people without inviting them into their own sense of ownership. Hi, my name is Josselyne Herman-Saccio, the host of Be Unmessable with the podcast. I am a master coach, vision architect, and thought partner who works with high performers to live their dreams instead of chase them and be what I call unmessable with, no matter what life throws at them. And for those of you that have been following my work for the past 39 years in transformative leadership, you know that I have seen this pattern destroy more brilliant visions than any external obstacle ever could. If you're launching something, a business, a nonprofit, a community project, you need collaborator, but not just helper, founding collaborator. So here's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to break down for you the exact difference between building for people versus building with people. I'll walk you through the 4-step framework that I call the vision gathering method that transforms individual success into collaborative momentum. And I'm going to show you why this approach doesn't just create better results, it creates exponential results because everyone is driving the boat, not just you. But first, let me tell you about a client of mine named Pat. She had an event and it exploded with success. She had a choice that every successful entrepreneur has and faces. She could either become the hero who does everything, or she could become the leader who empowers everyone. What she did next turned one successful event into an entire movement. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to do the very same thing. First point is the fatal flaw of the hero entrepreneur. Most successful entrepreneurs fall into what I call the hero trap. They believe their job is to have all the answers and delegate all the tasks. And I get it. I mean, you've built your success by being the person who figures things out, who takes charge, who makes it all happen. But that's a different space than you want to move into. What I've learned over the past 4 decades of working with high achieving leaders, when you position yourself as the hero, you become indispensable. And when you become indispensable, you become trapped in a prison of your own creation. Pat could have tried to run every next step herself after her event success. She had the momentum, she had the credibility, she had the connections, the resources. The traditional approach would have been to hire staff, create job descriptions, assign roles and tasks. But instead of becoming the bottleneck, she did something somewhat counterintuitive. And the research actually backs this up. According to recent studies on collaborative leadership, collaborative teams achieve twice the innovation and 5 times better financial performance compared to the traditional top down model. That's a lot. But here's what the research doesn't tell you, it's not just about better results, it's about sustainable freedom. When you are the hero, every decision flows through you. Every problem lands on your desk. You wanted freedom by becoming an entrepreneur, but instead you created this beautiful prison where you're both the warden and the inmate. And this is exactly what I see with my clients who have reached, 6, 7, 8 figures, but feel more trapped than ever. You would think at that level, they'd be free. But the shift isn't about working harder to get better at delegation. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship to leadership itself. It's a new model for leadership. So the second point is the vision gathering. This is your secret weapon. Here's what Pat ended up doing instead. She gathered her most inspired people for what I call a vision gathering, not a planning meeting, but a listening circle. And this distinction is everything. It will shift everything in how you function in your teams. Traditionally, meetings start with your agenda. Vision gathering start with your stand, your deep why about what's possible. So Pat said, "Here's what I see possible. What do you want to build?" And people started to respond. Some offered time, some offered platforms, ideas, even venues, or even their team to be resourced. See, when you invite people into your vision instead of assigning them roles in your plan, something magical starts to emerge. They stop being employees or helpers and start being your co creators. The energy in the room completely shifts from what does Pat need me to do to how can I contribute to the fulfillment of this vision. I have facilitated hundreds of these gatherings over the years, and I can tell you that the difference is palpable. You can feel it in the room. In traditional planning, most people sit back and wait to be told what to do. In vision gatherings, people lean forward and actually start to problem solve together to co create the way forward. The key is in how you frame the conversation. Traditional delegation says, okay, here's what I need you to do. Vision gathering actually says, here's what's possible. Where do you see yourself inside of this? The first creates dependency, and the second creates like a sense of ownership for everybody. And here's why this matters for you as a leader because when people feel ownership, they bring their full creativity and resources to the table. They don't hold back at all. They don't sit back, they lean forward. They bring their ideas, their inspiration. Third point is share the stand, not the script. Don't show up with a finished plan. This is a mistake that most people make. Share your why, invite input as to the how. And this goes against every instinct you have as a successful entrepreneur. I know you're used to having the answers, the plan, presenting the way forward, the solution, showing up super prepared. I mean, that's, kind of what it looks like, right? But I have seen too many brilliant leaders kill their own movements by over planning, overthinking. They walk into rooms with 47 slide presentations and wonder why no one feels inspired to contribute. Your job is not to have all the answers. Your job is to hold the space and the vision so clearly that other people can see themselves inside of it. So when Pat shared her stand, her vision, her deep why about what was possible, she didn't dictate the how. She created the space for others to bring their genius to the table. And that's when the magic really starts to ignite. People start connecting dots that she never even seen before. They brought resources she didn't even know were available or even existed in some cases. I remember in one gathering I facilitated where the leader was launching a community initiative. So instead of presenting the detailed plan, she simply shared her vision for what could be possible in the community. And one person offered their marketing expertise, another had connections to like local media outlets, a third person owned a venue that would be perfect for events that they were willing to donate. None of these contributions were on her original plan because she couldn't have even known that they were available. But by sharing the vision and the stand instead of the script, she unlocked resources and creativity that multiplied her impact exponentially. So, this is what I mean by strategic harmony, aligning your vision with other people's strengths and their vision and their passions in a way that serves everyone involved. So everyone gets a chance to fulfill something they are passionate about. Fourth point, ask what do you want to contribute? Don't assign roles. Do not assign roles. Ask where do you see yourself in this initiative? The question changes everything because it honors people's autonomy while advancing your vision at the same time. It has people be the source of their participation rather than just saying yes or no to a request or an assignment. See, you get compliance when you tell people what to do. When you ask for where they see their contribution, you get commitment. And the difference in energy and results is extraordinary. One person in Pat's gathering didn't really want to plan events, but they had a platform with 50,000 engaged followers. So another person, they couldn't commit time, but they had access to venues that could be used for free. By asking what they wanted to contribute instead of what she needed them to do, she unlocked resources that she never would have been even thinking to ask for. So the psychology here is actually crucial. People don't resist change, they resist being changed. When you invite contribution instead of assigning tasks like a drill sergeant, you are honoring their creation, their autonomy, while advancing your vision. You're saying, I trust that you know how you can best contribute to this. So, what do you see? That's co creation. I have seen this principle transform entire organizations. So instead of having reluctant employees doing tasks that they were assigned, you have passionate co collaborators doing work that they created, that they chose. The quality, creativity, and sustainability of the results that get produced in that model are really incomparable. And here's what's beautiful about this approach. One of the things that's beautiful about this approach is it actually makes your job easier, not harder. Instead of having to manage and motivate people, you have self motivated collaborators who are invested in the outcome because they helped create the outcome. They're at the source of the outcome. Point five, follow up with promises. You want to turn that energy into actual commitments. So after the brainstorming session, you got to turn that energy into actual promises, simple, clear, measurable promises. This is where most vision gatherings die right there on the vine because they get inspiration, but no structure. Most vision gatherings end with like great energy and zero follow through. Most people leave inspired, but they're unclear. Inspiration without structure is like a good feeling, and good feelings, they don't build movements. Actions produce results. So Pat ended up following up within 48 hours, 2 days, with very simple promises and agreements. You said you wanted to handle social media. Does posting twice a week for the next month work for you? So that would be a question, right? It's not complicated. It's not really complicated project management. It's just clear next steps. So the key is making agreements simple and actionable and specific, not help with marketing, because that's conceptual, but create 3 social media posts for the next week or the next month, not support event, but secure a venue for the March gathering by February 15th. So it needs to be actionable in time and specific. This approach builds community, not dependency. It empowers people to take ownership. It creates exponential results because everyone is driving, not just you. When people make clear agreements about what they want to contribute and what they're promising their actions are going to be, they're much more likely to follow through because it was their creation, their choice versus your assignment. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, but I have no idea how to actually facilitate a vision gathering or turn inspiration into agreements and structure, I work with leaders exactly like you and create these sustainable, empowering systems all the time. So there is a link in the description if you want to explore how I could support you in facilitating all of this with your teams and company. Okay. So here's what we've covered so far. Stop building for people, start building with people. Host vision gatherings, not planning meetings. Share your stand, not your script. Ask for contribution, don't assign roles. And always follow up with clear agreements and promises. So this is not just about building better teams or better initiatives. It's about building movements. It's about creating something that can grow and live beyond you, serves your life instead of consuming it. It's about moving from the exhausting cycle of being the hero to the sustainable joy of being a visionary leader who empowers others. If you want to learn about how to keep your founding collaborators engaged and accountable without becoming their, the naggy manager. Keep watching, subscribe to my channel for tips and strategy that transform both your business and your life.